news with geostrategic views. Well, people want to get rid of China, but China continues to hawk the centrality of global attention as a bad boy and a bully. Of course, India continues to pussyfoot around it by not naming it in various forums, and Jay Shankar still keeping the faith alive. I don't know from where that China would turn around. To which I think the Chinese Foreign Ministry said, "Oh, we would like what Jay Shankar says," but I think we continue to slide up a slippery slope if we think that China is going to come around. It's not. So what do we see here? China had a hope. Wall Street Journal wrote, China seeks thaw with high-level meetings. Beijing's hope pivot to climate and pandemic will help overcome divisions with US. Well, that, the key is, while Biden might not think that, like he says, Biden doesn't think that trade policy wasn't a priority, but Biden definitely thinks about the middle class in the United States, which is again, the policy has to come out as anti-China. He still thinks about technology, and look at what it says. Those hopes were dashed when independence means war. China sharpens language towards Taiwan. Beijing says increased military activity in the region in response to provocation, foreign interference. What did US do? US slams China's claims and outreach to allies in Asia. Then somebody comes out and, as an editorial in the Wall Street Journal, says China owes the world answers, and believe me, it owes a whole lot of answers, and India itself should not forget it. It's almost sacrificed a generation in economics because of the Wuhan crisis. What does Philippines say? Philippines also in the game. China law is threat of war. The Philippines has protested a new Chinese law that authorizes its Coast Guard to fire on foreign vessels and destroy other countries' structures on islands, it claims. Manila's top diplomat said Wednesday. They are also beginning to get the idea right. What does the UK do? China to stop recognizing UK passports for HK Hong Kong citizens. Interesting. This is like I said, India continues to pussyfoot. India's border challenge, LAC is the new LOC. This is what C. Uday Bhaskar writes. To aggravate the territorial issue further, China asserted on January 21st that its construction of a village near LAC in the eastern sector was beyond reproach because Beijing has never recognized Arunachal Pradesh. Welcome Jai Shankar. Smack on your face. Smack on Modi Sarkar's face. Arunachal Pradesh. In summary, the contested territoriality issue is now no longer confined to Ladakh in the western sector, but has moved eastwards, with areas in Sikkim and Arunachal Pradesh being brought into similar mode, folks. Two signals from Delhi merit scrutiny. The Republic Day Gallantry Awards included a Mahavir Chakra to Colonel Santosh Babu, the commanding officer of the Bihar Regiment, who along with 20 other soldiers was killed by the People's Liberation Army troops in the Galwan scuffle. The citation for Babu notes that his column faced stiff resistance from the adversary, who attacked using lethal and sharp weapons along with heavy stone pelting and from adjoining heights. And avoids, this is the problem, avoids mentioning the PLA or China or calling it an enemy, which it would do as soon as Pakistan came on to be. This is what I focus on this. This is not a fig leaf as Sanjeev Chandra. To my mind, this is now beginning to look like temerity of weakness. While all the folks out of Wall Street better start looking at this, Ant Group bends to China pressure. So what's the point of investing, right, folks? And Ant under pressure, Ant to sell US biometric security unit, right? And what does C. Raja Mohan write? Reading Biden in Delhi. His team takes charge. What does say? The couple of things that are expected to take the US back to the important for India is supposed to take US back to the 2015 Paris Agreement. It's going to get rid of the sweeping restrictions on immigration. Both work for India. It calls for policies to address the deepening income inequality at home and a domestic investment and industrial strategy that will allow America to become more competitive in the world. Here, India plays a big role. India is not competing for those jobs. China is. India, on the other hand, can be complementary. Jake Sullivan understands my vision and economic security is national security, and it helps steer what I call a foreign policy for the middle class. I think India will play well here. What it means in practice is that the US trade policy must benefit regular American communities and workers. And that starts with recognizing that people are not just consumers. This is good, important for India and everybody else, that people are not just consumers. They are also workers and wage earners. Without working and wage earning, there's no demand. I want to say, a pragmatic international orientation to the Atmanirbhar strategy could open some space for working with Biden on reforming the global trading system and make it more politically sustainable. In America, that moves towards doing less on the global security front will need strong partners like India, and India needs to step up to the plate, who can contribute more. A political understanding on strategic burden sharing would help Delhi and Washington develop deeper military cooperation and more intensive diplomat coordination in the Indo-Pacific. Here, like I said, folks, the Indo-Pacific hub should become the Andaman Islands. Right? And what does Seema Sarohi write? Joe Biden's crack Asia team. Biden wants to establish he gets China names for top jobs in the NSC. Some have things to prove and business to finish. They are neither panda huggers nor confrontationists, but they are definitely Beijing skeptics. It is as hawkish a group as would be expected given the competing pulls from Wall Street, Silicon Valley, progressives, climate activists, and globalization opponents who all want something different from Biden's China policy. Kurt Campbell, imagine, architect of the original pivot to India, which under Obama became under pressure, became rebalanced. He's back in power, right? Laura Rosenberger, senior director for China, is a vocal critic. Then here comes it. Equally interesting is Rush Doshi, a China scholar of Indian heritage, expected to be Rosenberger's deputy. Doshi has a distinctly independent view and trends to rile Chinese state across on Twitter. Another strong voice would be Tarun Chhabra, Senior Director for Technology and National Security. Chhabra's Twitter feed is replete with retweets of articles critical of China. Okay. The other point person in South Asia is Samuna Gua, a former State Department official and special advisor to Biden when he was vice president. Gua takes over from Lisa Curtis, who surprisingly is moving to Campbell's think tank. Gua's view on South Asia are India positive, going by the couple of recent tweets by her. She supports India's more active foreign policy, its growing presence on the world stage, and a principled public position against China's BRI. While Indian foreign policy has not shifted completely to align with the United States, she wrote, any Indian retreat would amount to the US losing a partner in Asia at a time when it can hardly afford to do so. Another top Indian expert and former Pentagon official, Cara Abercrombie, will be NSC's Senior Director for Defense. She is an excellent choice to drive policy from the White House. P.S. The names should reassure Delhi and absolutely trouble Beijing. Why India should keep stepping out to the United States is this. US and China, this is Chris Giles writing out of London, IMF focus. US and China set to lead global recovery. So India really needs to attach itself to the United States, but it ain't getting anything from China. Countering China. And here's another one. India must plug expertise gaps and work with US to expand comprehensive national power. It really cannot expand national power without the United States, folks. And here, giving some comfort to India, in first call to India, US Defense Secretary pledges to consolidate ties. Lloyd Austin and Rajnath Singh discuss regional and global issues, including China's situation. And while that's happening, with P-81 aircrafts, Navy takes part in Quad anti-submarine warfare exercises in Guam, folks, all the way in Guam. This is an important piece of information and piece of news for India, right? And what is going to get stuck in the middle of our throat, as everybody says? In Biden team, a cousin of man held in Jammu and Kashmir under PSA post August 5th. BJP is treating J&K like a political laboratory mufti. So this is really what's going to be, as some people will describe, a storm in a teacup, folks. Bharat Karnad thinks that the relationship with the United States is India-US relations are heading into a squall. The Indian government better batten down. I had suggested this is going to be more like a storm in a teacup. It's going to be about issues essentially that got to do with our democratic sliding down the democratic principles. Hey, but I think we might just get up and be able to deliver. Sham Saran's probably, I think, is got it right. Normal is good. B. Harris repair of US will advance India's interest. Why would another term, this is an interesting point, why would another Trump term not have been good? Because the Indo-US partnership has become so important to India that it needs a US which is not deeply polarized, dysfunctional, and losing the economic competition with India. And I think Biden has come back because it's going to focus on the middle class, on its economic regeneration. And as the Wall Street Journal, the two engines of growth are going to be China and the United States again. But what's not going to sing right is what, and this is something that, we have the Russian and the Russians talking a lot more loudly than the Indians. India's induction of S-400 to usher in new stage in ties. I don't think so. The ties are, in my view, going to keep going sideways because Russia has made its choice with China. I personally think, as it says, military specialists to visit Russia for S-400 training, India to stick with S-400 deal despite threats of likely US sanctions officials, then I would say, I think it's not the sanctions that should worry us. It should be just the fact that this is a dud. Why is it a dud? Fine, principally because it's with China. And if it's with China, this system has been cracked. So it's going to be of no real benefit for it, no benefit to India, either from incoming threats from China or Pakistan. And this is what I call absolute stupidity. Negotiation between India and China, writes Lavrov. Who the hell is Lavrov? And why is Jaishankar not telling us that Russia is negotiating for him? This is shameful for this Sarkar if this is actually happening. And while this is happening, look at what's happening. Russian missile system seized by US in Libya. India has got to get its agenda right here. It's got to think for itself. It just can't think about the sensibilities of China that it still continues to do, or about its old rose-tinted relationship with Russia. Right? And Russia's in trouble when it's putting its hand out here. India, Japan, Russia grouping in the works. Now, why would Russia be doing that if it was not really worried about China? You got to ask yourself, folks. Things continue on a fast pace with France, an Indo-Pacific power, India and France and French Rafales to take part in joint drill. And Japan continues to be one of our key players in the East. Japan inks deal to get Indian talent across 14 fields. This is 14 fields. This is critical because Japan is aging really fast, right? Then again, Japan and France. India, France and Japan plan Indo-Pacific bloc, right? When they're doing that, look at what the Australian PM is saying. What we have in common. Wonderful coincidence of Republic Day and Australia Day indicates a natural partnership. Not only that, when you look at what's happening here, Canada joins Quad Joint Naval Exercise in Pacific Ocean where India's P-81 flights were also present in Guam. It is important that Canada has also joined it. And to continue with a love fest with Abe has also been awarded the Padma Vibhushan, folks. That is really, really important. So India is making it clear. But I would say it really get its house in order with its relationship with China. China, I don't know why we keep pussyfooting this way. I really don't know. When the Mahavir Chakra was being given to the colonel, to Raju, should have been clearly said that the 20 soldiers that died at the hands of the PLA and had died at the hands of China. They cannot be called an adversary. This is absolutely blasphemy and disrespects the soldiers that died, folks. Jai Hind.